Your first roaster is a hilarious and clever comedian. She has gone on Kimmel, and she has a half-hour special coming out in the fall. Ladies and gentlemen, Beth Stelling!
When you wish upon a star. A brown star. My butthole. Okay, listen. Guys, I love that he introduced me as clever, but none of this is. Okay, just so we're clear here. One of my first laughs was actually from The Little Mermaid when I said, "The seaweed is always greener on somebody else's wiener." It killed. Except for my mom tried not to laugh, but it was pretty funny. Walt Disney hated that. Also, WALL-E. I mean, I think you died before seeing WALL-E, but you definitely were dead. But one of my boyfriends, we would say to, I would look at him and I'd go, "WALL-E," and he'd go, "Eva." So that's pretty cute. We did that when we would come, so that was. Also, the boys talked about working at Disney. Now, that's not a part of my family history. My dad always worked at Universal. Yeah, my dad was actually Jaws, on the ride Jaws. So he recently lost his job, but they closed that ride. He did used to call me Stitch. My dad used to tell me that I looked like Stitch in the movie Lilo and Stitch. Because when I was younger, I used to have a gap right here. I never had braces. Must have been the Lord that moved them together. But they did come together, but when they were apart, and they've never really been, okay, either way, my dad called me Stitch because every time I would smile in like my school photos, like I've learned since, but I full mouth, full teeth smile like this. You know, like real hard. And now I tuck the lip, cover up this tooth. But either way, I was like, "Thanks, Dad. I'm glad you think your daughter looks like a blue alien dog with 3 yellow teeth." Okay. Walt Disney has a mustache, which is basically looks like 2 Hitler mustaches side by side. His breath is so bad from chain smoking that his left eye is a little bit smaller because it's passing out. His mustache smells just as bad as the handlebar at that Disney ride, Splash Mountain. Which, if you haven't ridden that ride, when you go down Splash Mountain, you hold on really tight. It's like the oh shit bars. Sometimes they call it the oh shit bar. If you get off that ride and smell your hands, it is pure hell. It smells like a freaking sewage-covered rotting tampon. I thought of that when I looked at your face. You're gonna die of lung cancer because you eat so many cigarettes. You just eat them whole. Walt Disney was the original voice of Mickey, which explains why Mickey just sounded like a man trying to talk like a woman. Horribly uncreative. It was a shit voice. That's why they didn't let you do it the whole time. They took it away from you. He had a pet mouse, and he also probably had like pet roaches and ants and termites. Cause it's disgusting. Based upon, the cartoon, you wanted to call your little cartoon mouse Mortimer, and your wife Lillian was like, "No, Mickey is friendlier." So basically, you're like the husband in that movie, Big Eyes, is what I'm saying. You got 22 Academy Awards, but it was out of 59 nominations. Horrible odds. Horrible odds. You lost so many times. I'm not going to do the math on that, but it's a lot. 31. Walt Disney is responsible for... Hold on, I'll be right back. Walt Disney is responsible for Fantasia, which reminds me of the time I got really, really, really sick in elementary school, and I barfed for days. And my mom was a single mom, and so she finally had to go back to work. And the babysitter put on Fantasia, which was much worse than being sick. I heard that when you die, you want to freeze your head, which is actually the whole... I haven't seen it, but I think that's what the movie Frozen's about, so congratulations. Starring Adele Nazim. Okay. Tarzan. Tarzan reminds me of the time that my best friend Fiona and I, we were riding our bikes to go... Well, my mom said, we can go to Tarzan. That was a big deal. So she must have called Fiona's house, and then we rode our bikes back to my house to get a ride with my mom to the Dollar Theater. And that's when, on our way back, Rob Taylor, he was this high schooler that drove a Jeep, hit me with his car, rolled over my bike, ruined my only piece of transportation as a child. And then we went to go see Tarzan anyway, which getting hit by a car was way better. You see what I'm doing here, so. Lion King. It reminds me of the time my dad died. And then when Mufasa dies in the movie, it brings back all of these feelings, you know? Just like, why am I wasting my life watching this shitty Walt Disney movie? Yeah, thank you. Bambi died. Bambi made me fear that my mom was going to die at any minute. That's not really a fully formed joke, but that's just a reality, so fuck you, man. I would take naps with my mom, and I would lay next to her. I wouldn't be napping. She would be napping after work or something, and I just want to be near her. So I would lay next to my mom, kind of near her armpit, and she has, like, heart-shaped nostrils, which further proves that my mother is an actual angel. And I would just be watching those nostrils and also her chest to make sure she was still breathing, all because of you. I was worried a hunter was going to come in the room and shoot her at any minute. I lost my virginity to Aladdin. No complaints, Sarah, actually. Thank you. That's the one thing I'd like to thank you for. Beauty and the Beast is why I date assholes who are really hairy. Cinderella made me think it was normal for my stepmother to be such a cunt, and I just thought if I cleaned hard enough, birds would put my clothes on. Wind in the Willows is why I hate frogs. The second time I had sex was with a doll because of Pinocchio. Alice in Wonderland's why I'm addicted to drugs. So just because he smoked the pipe, it was really influential for me. Then that was a gateway. It was a gateway drug to all the other drugs I do. My main drug is sugar, just so we're clear. That was a joke. I think one other time, I wanted to get the set, I think I wrote this. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the reason I drank and pass out in hopes that I'll wake up with servants. But listen, I wanted to get the Seven Dwarfs bathtub set when I went to Disney because my dad lived in Orlando, and so I would have to go visit him when I was a kid because it was court ordered. And he would take us to Disney, and I wanted to get the bathtub set, but my stepmom wouldn't let me. She's like, you are too old for the bathtub set. Arguably I was. But then she just got me this shitty, tiny little Minnie Mouse stuffed doll at one of your stores, and I'm sure it was like $20 million. It was probably $37 for a small animal. And I complained about it the whole time. I was very upset. And then finally, when we were walking back to the car, I wanted the middle seat. That's where it's at, right on the hump. I wanted the back middle seat. I have two sisters. I needed that, so then on top of it, I was just being a real pill, And so she goes, fine, we're leaving you here. And this was at the end of the night in the Disney parking lot. And everybody got in the car and drove away without me. And my dad said nothing. This is really more about him, not you, but if you are ever a step parent or a parent, if you're ever a parent and you remarry, never let the step parent do stuff like that. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Peter Pan's Why My Brother's Dead. He tried to fly off a roof yelling, baseball cards, titty mags, beer! You've killed most of my family, you piece of shit. But thank you for all that you've done.
Beth Stelling, ladies and gentlemen. Check out her special this fall on Comedy Central.